what they don't talk about is the music industry gets younger and younger, while the people who own the music industry get older and older and wiser. So Master P may come up with a stellar contract that breaks down the walls, or Michael Jordan, in the case of shoes, may come up with a deal that's never been seen before, but them white folks are not gonna let that happen again. You're gonna have to find another way to do it. And every time we break through, the contracts get tighter and tighter, but we're getting younger and younger and younger. And your music is becoming more disposable and more disposable. But I'm just glad that my parents instilled something in me. And hip hop, from the standpoint of when I was growing up, was intelligent. So I always learned to study. I'll give y'all an example. My first Gatorade contract, I actually wrote the contract myself. And I wrote the contract because I went to LegalZoom. That's when LegalZoom first came out. And I downloaded every contract that had something to do with marketing, that had to do anything with commercials and music. And I studied. Watch what I did. Most lawyers charge you by what? The hour, right? Have you ever noticed in most cases, we only really spend 30 minutes, but they always charge you by the what? So every time I would read something in LegalZoom that I didn't understand, when my lawyer got his ass up, no, sit your ass back down. I got 30 more minutes. I got these list of questions. So after about 20 times of doing this with my lawyer, I got this. And it got to the point where other rappers would call me and say, hey, bro, read over my contract. I could pick out what was wrong. I didn't know how to rewrite the contract, but I could pick out what was wrong. But it was because I had the internal fortitude to study and learn on my own. Two things that were very powerful. Number one, when he read over the Gatorade contract, he said, I corrected a few grammatical errors in a few terms. He said, but for the most part, I can't charge you. He said, you did that. He really looked at me and was like, bro, you did that. And what he did say about me that I thought was honorable, he said, David Banner, unlike most people, you handle business the same way you are in real life. Like, one of the hardest things for...
Watching this video is so insightful. It's so insightful because it just shows what you can achieve when you actually just give a damn about your business. Do you know what I mean? This guy, through just literally self-studying and educating himself, he was able to now develop a skill set that not a lot of people actually have. In fact, people are able to bill by, the hundreds, if not thousands per hour to actually do the exact same thing that he learned in real time just by handling his business correct. And it just shows what is actually going on, because when you're looking at all the endorsement deals, like he mentioned, for example, let's say like a Michael Jordan type of deal with Nike, for example, those are deals that will always go down in history as being legendary deals. In fact, those are the type of deals that take people from just being, multi-millionaires into billionaires, right? But you got to realize that the whole nature of business is that business is war. In business, you have to treat it as if though you're in a war ground, because every single person is looking to get a one-up on each other. And every single person is operating from a survival of the fittest kind of mentality. Winner takes it all. That's just the nature of business. So you got to realize that as business matures and industries mature, it's always going to grow in a way that is going to favor the people that have been in the game for longer than the people that are just literally new to the game. So what you're saying in terms of, for example, the fact that with the label execs, for example, getting older and the talent getting younger, we saw that in real time, because when hip hop, for example, first started, it was all the older lot that were doing hip hop, and they were talking about very, you could say, powerful messages, whether it was about liberation, whether it was about, love, for example, whether it was about some stories like get education or do this or do you know what I mean? I've even seen some videos where old heads were saying that before, when they were growing up, it used to be whack to basically sell drugs, for example. All of a sudden, he saw in real time how it started to become cool to actually do the exact same thing that his generation used to actually clown. So we saw that things change, but as things change, it's simply because the people who are talking and who are being given the mic actually become younger. So, for example, let's say if the older lot were saying, okay, don't make the same mistakes that we did, get your education, love yourself, love your family, for example. And then now the mic is now given from an older head into a YN, for example. What do you expect the YN to now say? They haven't been through the exact same things. They haven't been through the exact same struggles. But they may still have the talent and the lyrical ability to speak from their perspective, which is more ignorant, for example, and it's still fun and all this type of stuff or fun as we deem it. Now, the people that are able to take benefit from it is that, look, it's always going to be the label execs, for example, and the people at the top. Because the older lot, they're more experienced. They understand, okay, cool, I can go through, for example, what David Banner did. I can go and educate myself. I can go get my intellect up and actually develop these skills, etc. And I know what I need to do because I'm wise. I've matured in age. The younger lot, they're like, look, I would have rapped this type of stuff in the hood anyways, you know what I mean? So let's run it. What, you're offering me 50 bags, or what, you're offering me 100, you're offering me a meal, for example, whatever the number is. This is stuff that these guys would have done for free anyways. So it's very, very valuable what this guy's saying. And yeah, man, the video hasn't even ended. I just had to say that because I'm thinking to myself, like, look, I actually need to do more work in terms of self-study and just getting better at educating myself in the business I'm in as well. Very, very insightful, man.
For me, is to negotiate with producers because I'm a producer. I say this all the time. Most black people don't want to free the slaves. They want the opportunity to hold a whip. How am I going to f over a young producer when I am a producer? That ain't God-like to me. You feel me? Yeah. So he was like, you're the same man in the contract that you are on the streets. And that's all I could ever ask in business or in life or in the spiritual realm. Because feel are the rappers, right? The y'all got A&Rs, are the label execs, right? And so whether we know it or not, bro, people act just like slaves and don't know it. Like, usually when you look at getting hot in the hood as a rapper or as a beat producer, all that is accruing power, right? And what's the first thing you do when you go get power? You don't believe that you can wield that power. So you go find your white dude to do it for you. Why couldn't a black person do it? Why couldn't you do it? Like, what is it about us that we can't create our own internet, dog? Why you can't create your own store, bro? And then as soon as we start figuring it out, and be like, oh, we can do this. A company that because all you gotta do is create a company and get all our friends and all. I thought about that. Going to get Snoop, going to get Raheem Devon, get Crit, and all us put a company together and just make the splits equitable. And then give other artists what they deserve, what we know that we want. Maybe God put us through what we're going through so we can be the person to do it. What they don't talk.
Well, the reality is that, would that ever happen? I hope so, but it's not really, hopeful. I wouldn't really bet any money on that happening. Let's be very, very real, because I used to be those type of people that was always on the vibe of like, okay, cool, like, we're seeing this happen. Let's educate ourselves. Let's make this money together. Let's do this. The whole motivational type of person. That used to be my whole bag. But what I realized is that not every single person has the mentality, bro. And the mentality is the biggest thing. Like, it's not the color of your skin. It's not your religion. It's not your faith. It's not your gender, anything like that. It's literally just down to your mindset. Of course, these other things that I've mentioned prior, they can play a factor into things, but it's not the causation. I definitely believe that your mentality is the causation, and it has a direct correlation into how successful you're actually going to be. Because a lot of people don't have the mindset of, okay, we can do this together. They have the mindset of being in survival mode, that I can do it and I'm going to basically do it with myself. Or in order for me to do it, I need to basically be the only person winning, because if multiple people are winning, it takes away from me. So people are operating from a state of insecurity. And it's very insightful what this guy has basically said, man. I can't lie. It's very, very insightful. I saw it when I was just literally scrolling through YouTube, but I thought, you know what, I'll literally just make a quick reaction to it because we can definitely all learn from it. In saying that, my people, that brings us to the end of the video. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I'll make sure to see you guys tomorrow for more music, marketing, entertainment topics, and more commentary alike.